in a proper way. Moving further, we have along with us Honorable Reverend Chitralekha James, Director of Training at the New Creation, Pune, passionate about women's equality, welfare of women, children, and unemployed youths, a researcher on women, co-workers in ministry in St. Paul's writing and the gospel, and cultural and biblical impact on women in Church of Maharashtra. Ma'am has worked as personal secretary to advocate Subhash Langote's farm, lecturer at United Theological Seminary of Maharashtra, Pune, assistant priest at Brother Deshpande Church, youth coordinator for Pune Diocese, spiritual director and hostess, Spiritual Life Center, counselor for Explora Design School, Pune, and recently a founder and director at the New Creation, Pune. Ma'am, I kindly request you to begin with your session. Hello, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction you have given. First of all, I thank God Almighty for this time and opportunity which is given to me, and also for the life of Rashtrapita Mahatma Gandhi ji. I also thank God for the work of Jaihind People's Movement, Mr. Sanket Munot and his team, all the honorable dignitaries participating in this meeting from Sangamner and from all over the world. I thank all who have shared their wonderful thoughts before me and will be sharing after me. Thank you all participants for taking your time and meditate on this needful topic for today, that is for a world without hate from Gandhian Thoughts. From a biblical point of view, when a normal human being forgets that he or she is created in the image of God, forgets that everyone has a gift from God, then the comparison starts, which leads to unnecessary competition. This competition doesn't stop only in winning, but it finishes others. That is ultimately the end of everything. The hate is one among the root causes which leads to our own end. Mahatma Gandhi's letters to Leo Tolstoy and vice versa points that Gandhiji was influenced when he says, hate the sin and not the sinner, from the Bible portions like from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 33, verse 11, I quote, I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but rather that they turn from their ways and live, says God Almighty. Book of Matthew, chapter 22, verses 37 to 39, I quote, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Again, from Epistle of Romans, chapter 3, verse 23, for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. And so on. As everyone is a sinner, Jesus preferred to use the word neighbor for all of us. Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 to 29, in short says, judge not that you be not judged. One of the apostle of Jesus writes in his first epistle, John chapter 4, verse 20, whoever claims to love God, yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister whom they have seen cannot love God, whom they have not seen. And he has given us this command, anyone who loves God must also love their brother and sister, unquote. If you are a religious person, you ought to be a loving person, is the basic truth. One who does self-interrogation and self-inspection and can mind in a way his or her own business of becoming more good human being and a good neighbor, a person will not have time to point out others' mistakes. Another factor, what we realize in today's world is ancient writings cannot be taken as it is. So Jesus makes modification and addition in the original commandments given by Moses or by God. Recently, I read the news which was about saving electricity and energy. West countries are cutting off electricity supply of Eiffel Tower. Germany has announced to use less lightning during Christmas celebration at night. Streets are no more with the same lightings as they used to be always. I think India has already practicing such things. So definition of modernization in West was and is different than in India. This is what Gandhiji writes to Daniel Hamilton in his letters. So man behind the machine and the spirituality of that man was important for Mahatma Gandhi because ultimately it is a human being who deals and operates the science and the machinery made due to science. A person can understand and use the science responsibly only if his or her general philosophy is constructed with the help of metaphysics, ontology, epistemology, ethics, logics, and politics, which was of Gandhiji. Keeping in mind the situation in India, Gandhiji knew that science could have been misused or would not be understood by common man or human of India. So his talk about science is mostly misunderstood and kept limited only till Khadi. But Mr. Sahasrabuddhe and Vishwanathan writes about him that he is seen as one of the great and most inventive of scientists of the Swadeshi era. Like Jesus told to his disciples, I have many more important things to tell you, but you cannot bear them now. John chapter 16, verse 12. I think same was happening with other Indians when Gandhiji was trying to take science and modernization in Swadeshi with proper checking and understanding the spiritual, psychological, educational, ethical, logical level of common Indian person. To prove that we all are same and no need to compete with each other, science can help us to understand it better with ethical knowledge. Need to understand science, development, and progress in right way. Because of our greed, we are destroying the earth and space, which will result in our own end. Spirituality of a human was important for Gandhiji. The same way, protecting your heart was important for God and Jesus. Both of them were not seen as the men of science. I recommend the book of Professor Dr. Lawrence Collins, a Christian a Christian geologist explains why the earth cannot be 6,000 years old to balance science and religion for the betterment of humanity. So, paying attention to the needs of all is loving thy neighbor. It is an ongoing process till the end. And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive them that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, is a prayer which Jesus taught to all human beings to say every day. We have to say daily this prayer, the same as farmers have to remove unwanted weeds that keep growing every now and then and destroys the main yield. On this occasion, let's practice that within and outside of our own frame. Let me stop here and once again greet, wish, and pray that what religion and science Gandhiji has made very simple for us to understand, from today's specs, we have to understand it and love our neighbors. Once again, I thank each one of you for giving your precious time, and especially Jaihind, Janaseva, or the People's Movement, and Mr. Sanket Munot and his team, and all the dignitaries who are now with us in this online program. Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. As you rightly said, comparison enhances competition and is the beginning of hate. Also, you elaborated nicely the Bible specifics on love and non-hatred related to Gandhian thoughts. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.